Hello. As we begin, I'd just like to put a friendly reminder out to the audience that we will be recording this presentation and that the recording will be made available sometime in the near future for playback. We appreciate the Hughes user group for their support and sponsorship of this webinar. The Hughes user group is an association of organizations that share a vested interest in the use and innovation of Hughes products, services, and solutions, and it's known worldwide as the HUG. HUG holds a unique place in the industry, enabling Hughes customers, prospects, and end users to talk about best practices and user experiences, listen to industry leaders and technology experts, and learn from peers, networking with each other, and educational sessions such as this one. We remind everyone as you join that we'd like you to mute your speakers mute your microphones, and we'll continue on. The purpose of this broadcast today is to provide information and share ideas and thoughts, and we welcome your feedback at the end of the presentation or to any of our publicly available social media channels. The business landscape is changing as employees seek purpose and satisfaction along with accomplishing their tasks. Employers aim to harness workers' ingenuity, and they have to support a diverse, multi-generational workforce that wants to work anytime, anywhere. And success for these different angles depends on the ability to collaborate and drive productivity within teams that are both local and spread across the globe. My name is Mike Tippets, and it's going to be my pleasure to spend the next 20 or 25 minutes with you talking about the value of collaboration. I'm going to share with you some thoughts about the business value and the evolution of business collaboration, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how that impacts your network planning and service delivery. Let's start with some statistics and facts. People believe that their organization does not collaborate enough. In fact, 39% of the people surveyed by Visix.com felt that that was very much an interest or an issue for their organization. Harvard Business Review studied people and found that 64% of the people they studied stayed engaged in a task or project longer when they were working in a group. The codependence and the idea that I can't let my teammates down was a very big part of that process. Executives are telling us that the lack of collaboration is reason for workplace failures almost 86% of the time. And as you might imagine, almost all employees feel that if you're misaligned, it will negatively impact your success, as found in the McKinsey study. The problem, if you really want to call it a problem, is that people are more productive when they can collaborate. But how do we enable them to collaborate effectively? The way we work is changing. Historically, people came to work, they were given assignments by their management team, and they went to their desk, they did their assignments, they returned and were given additional information. In today's world, people are 2 times more likely to be working on a team than they were just 5 years ago. And those teams are not just in their local office. Those teams are located around the organization. And in fact, success is found when those teams are broad and have distributed membership. Examples are frequently given about collaboration using Apple and Google. Both of these companies have designed their campuses with areas where employees can either intentionally or accidentally run into each other, sit down and have a meaningful conversation and collaborate on ideas, allowing the best and the brightest to be brought together to share and solve these problems and these business ideas. How does the physical space help encourage, promote, and support collaboration? You know, in the world today, we're moving from cubicle farms to open floor plans. And of course, this is a highly debated topic. Your personal preference probably has something to do with your age, the number of years you've been in your career, and your own personal experience as to whether or not you prefer a more closed or more open work environment. But regardless, the need for collaboration is enhanced when the physical space allows for it, either at the desk or in common areas. When you talk about collaboration and you talk about bringing teams together, you need to remember remote employees. And candidly, there's a good question. What defines remote? As we talk about the virtual teams, does a remote employee work upstairs in the same building? Does a remote employee work across town in another one of our company's physical facilities? Or do they live in a country across the ocean? All of these are true, and all of these have the opportunity to contribute significantly to our collaboration or our team. As we look at this and we start to ask ourselves, is it worth the effort? The answer is an absolute yes. The prize is absolutely worth the energy. The benefits of collaboration are strong. Immediately, you see improvements in delegation, tracking, and reporting. The open nature of a virtual team allows you to follow up on tasks and assignments more easily. It allows teams to bring productivity and bring completion of their assignments to the market much quicker. And again, it allows us to bring people together who might not necessarily sit geographically or physically close to each other. There's an organization and sharing of documents, which we're going to talk about in some detail as we go through this presentation. But the benefits of collaboration are without a doubt worth the energy. If you will, allow me to share a story with you. Angie was a team leader and a program manager at her company, and she was chosen to lead a team that would redesign the customer experience for her company. She was given the authority to tap 10 people from various disciplines around the company to help define and refine the customer experience. This project had visibility up to the CEO and even the board of directors and was a very big opportunity for Angie. Within the first week, Angie had identified 10 people, and she was excited to bring them together and share the goals of the project. Dave and Susan were from marketing, and they were in the building next to Angie. Naveen and Divija were from the customer service center, and they worked in Bangalore. Ted, Carl, Marie were from product management in the same area as Angie. Carly, Ashley, and McKenna were from operations, and they were all on flex time schedules based on their production volumes, and frequently they worked from home. Angie was very enthused and decided that she would send around a PowerPoint where she would outline the objectives and key results that she felt were important and get people's feedback and input to use that and build consensus. Well, I think all of us on the presentation or listening to this broadcast know what happened next. Angie sent around the PowerPoint and then began 2 weeks of email threads. Did you get it? Did you see it? Do you have the latest version? Do you have his comments? Do you have her comments? Back and forth and around that went. And it's dangerous because that kind of back and forth will sometimes sap the energy out of the team. Fortunately, though, Angie was strong and a good leader and continued to work with her team. But let's ask ourselves, what if we could create a virtual meeting room where anyone from anywhere at any time can share their thoughts, ideas, and information? What if that room had a chat board where we could drop by and leave an idea or comment on a topic that was being discussed? What if we could count on the latest version of all documents and information to be in that virtual meeting room? What if tasks and assignments were managed here in an open and transparent manner so that we all see the work that's being distributed, and we all understand what's being accomplished and what's yet to be done. Let's step back in time briefly to talk about the timeline of how we got to where we are today. In the beginning was WebEx, and that begat a range of alternatives. ReadyTalk, Zoom, BlueJeans, GoToMeeting, and many, many more. They all existed to allow screen sharing and to add the benefit of video into a group discussion. No more audio bridge only meetings, thank goodness. But as time went along, agile development models became more universally accepted, not only in engineering, but across operations, sales, marketing, and elsewhere in the company. And this required the sharing of deadlines, drafts of multiple documents, and enhanced chat capabilities. Document sharing, it became something more than just screen sharing to collaborate and edit together. It became needing a centralized repository, and Dropbox and Box.com were born. The limits being placed on email attachments was also driving this behavior. But collaboration continued to grow, and agile development also drove the adoption of many what I refer to as single-purpose tools: Office 365, Yammer, Igloo, Asana, Basecamp, Huddle, Jira, Slack, and more. What was lacking, however, was a macro environment where the user could do many or even all of these collaborative things in a single place. Here we are now in the era of virtual teams. Employees can meet virtually, and they can do things together, whether they live in the same country or they live across the ocean. We can reconvene at any time and have all the materials ready and waiting. But what does this mean? In short, it means cloud. The anytime, anywhere nature of these services means that they are not hosted inside the firewall. They are hosted in the cloud and presented as software as a service to the end user, and can be accessed by devices that include mobile, laptop, desktop, browser-based. They can be accessed anytime, anywhere, by anyone who's been granted access. This cloud functionality is critical, and it's becoming a pressure point for many of our IT leaders and facilitators. As IT leaders and facilitators, we have to be prepared to deliver an always-on experience for our end users. We cannot interrupt core business services like transactions, data access, email, and increasingly data-based voice over IP services. Security must remain critical, must be at the top of our list. We're now talking about placing company information in the cloud, and we need to be sure that we have the policies and practices in place to make sure that we're not jeopardizing corporate intellectual property. The desire to collaborate is strong, but it does not usually come with an increase in budget or headcount. And so we have to find ways to save money in other areas to offset increased bandwidth and licensing charges that come along with this desire for collaboration. Reliability and accessibility have to be maintained for the existing services, but even more so for these new cloud-based services. IT must be a leader. We must get out in front, and we must show the organization a good path to where they want to go. Now, one more thing that I would tell you, you cannot forget when you talk about rolling out something like this or introducing a concept like virtual teams and collaboration, and that is training. Don't forget, you can't expect people to grow into this organically. They have to be trained. And the training needs to include both the how and also the why. You cannot expect people to give their full support to something they don't understand the value of. So we need to train them on the how and the why. You might deliver that training as a live classroom-based experience, but you might also deliver that as a video-based service that comes to the sites live or on demand and allows groups to view the training together. That way, they all get the same training as those who receive training at the home office, and nobody is left wondering why they didn't understand certain parts. You make sure that the information is available, and people will build confidence and trust in your service. I'd like to take just a minute and share a brief overview of our own journey here at Hughes as we've moved towards deeper collaboration and the idea of virtual teams. We identified the need to move into a more collaborative environment to allow groups like engineering, marketing, sales, finance, operations, and more to interact within their own groups, but also across departments with ease and confidence. We also wanted to find a way to reduce costs by consolidating certain services, certain licenses, and finding ways to move away from the per line per minute conferencing services that were so readily used across the organization. We also saw that the future involved interaction and collaboration, not just internally, as we've discussed, but externally too. Increasingly, our customers have begun inviting us to participate with them via virtual team-like solutions, and also our suppliers as well. Like many organizations, we had a wide range of tools and services. At a high level, we were using some of the tools that have been mentioned here previously. For example, some of the single-purpose services, and then also at the top of our stack, we had ReadyTalk, WebEx, LifeSize, and Microsoft Teams. Each of these had a base of users within the company, and it's also important to note we recently deployed Cisco phones to all employees and implemented the Cisco Jabber product as an instant messaging and soft phone solution throughout the company. We're licensed for Microsoft Office 365, and we have employee desktop, laptop, and desktops and laptops that are running both Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Generally, our employee base is using iOS and Android smartphones and tablets as well. So we have many offices around the world, and even a population of users who work from home. So we sat down and we developed a list of core requirements. And I think as you look at these, you'll find that they're very similar to what will come out in your own organization. We, of course, wanted this teamwork. We wanted to be able to create teams. We wanted them to be able to video conference, document share, co-editing. Co-editing was a big requirement as we went through and talked to the user base. We wanted it to be integrated with Microsoft Office 365, not just that it supported those documents, but that it included the back-end intelligence. We wanted, and this was a big area because it was a cost savings for us, a global, cost-effective one-on-one and group audio video web meeting with chat capability. This was going to allow us to get away from those per line per minute choices. We needed to support languages. Inline message translation was something that was a nice to have. We wanted the ability to bring in those external apps, whether it was through connectors or bots or whatever. We wanted to be able to look at our Jira ticketing system within this collaborative environment. We wanted to be able to share assignments and pass things back and forth and have that information available. We needed support for mobile, desktop, and browser-based platforms, and we wanted it in the cloud with built-in security and compliance. So taking that list of requirements, we went into the market and we looked at a number of solutions. And we evaluated tools already in use here at Hughes, as well as ones that were available on the market different than what we had. We quickly realized that we wanted a Teams type product, And although there are increasingly more and more Teams type products becoming available, we focused in on Cisco WebEx Teams and Microsoft Teams. They were the two most mature products on the market and aligned with our infrastructure. Ultimately, we did choose Microsoft Teams, and along with this decision, we are providing online training, resources, and live classroom training on the Microsoft Teams and Office 365 applications in order to build the confidence and comfort with these capabilities. I don't intend for this webinar to be an endorsement of Microsoft Teams, but I did want to review with you our own process and case study, if you will. The summary is this: the train is on its way. Cloud-based collaboration tools are coming and probably have pockets of use in your organization today. IT needs not only to support this movement, but to act as a leader within the company to drive adoption because of the business benefits. And as the IT organization, we are in a position to make sure that security stays important, that it is not forgotten, that the impact that it has on our local area and wide area networks is not forgotten, and that we can prepare. And the last thing that I wanted to share with you in summary is this: look at your cloud connectivity from location to location. And if you're not ready, engage with us. Give us a call. We can help you analyze, prepare, and deploy tools and services to ensure that you deliver your service to your end users in a way that is business savvy, protected, and well thought out. I'd like to thank you for spending this time with me. I know many of you have had thoughts that have come up as we've been talking through this, and you would like to ask questions and maybe even debate with me some of the points that I made. I invite you to join me on Twitter at Hughes Media VP or at HughesON. We have a YouTube channel. You're welcome to subscribe to our HughesON channel there and see many of our thoughts and ideas that we share. We have a weekly podcast series called The Digital Transformation of Business. We invite you to subscribe to that and enjoy the commentary that happens. And of course, we're on LinkedIn at HughesON. Again, thank you very much for joining us today. We look forward to working with you now and in the future, and have a fantastic week.